Hi, Carla. How you doing? I've got your presentation up. I might get rid of that. That's bugging me. Okay, got your presentation up. Read. You're writing right here about the photographer. Good job. Um, Describing a little bit of what your intent was, and that's good to give a little background like that. Now, then you go into about the project. You chose summer break, and you gave your reasoning behind this, and that's all great. It's a great setup. It really is. Okay, I'm gonna command R this. Let's see your page size, 13 by 7.5. Okay, and I think. Well, I'll get to that in 1 second. Get rid of those rulers. Let's get down to page 3 where your presentation starts. Okay, now a couple of things I want to mention here, and as a graphic designer, I want to mention a couple of things about your page layouts. I think that you're allowing your page to kind of take over the composition a little bit. Negative space in graphic design is still a design element. It still has meaning. Okay, so what I would prefer you to do is close these pages down. And I don't think you need the text. I really don't. The idea here is that you create this narrative, this visual narrative. And going through your presentation, we get it. We'll get it. I promise you. It's there. I went through this a couple of times and I'm seeing summer break. It's clear. Okay? So I don't think you need to add the little narrative text there. I think it hinders the presentation. I think it's adding something that doesn't need to be there, both in a visual aspect and a technical aspect in terms of solid visual communication. And I mention that because I read that you said you are a graphic design major. Okay. I don't think it's a good idea to put these strokes around the images either. I think it's adding too much starkness, too much framing things in, not allowing them to have this relationship with infinity, which basically is what this is. I mean, these kids are outside. They've got the expansive outdoors for their summer, and you're kind of boxing it in by placing this box around the images. Okay. As far as the images themselves go, I want to this image right here is problematic because let's jump in here and we can see clearly this has been digitally. This looks definitely like if you've been using clone stamp there, and it's really pretty obvious that that's been digitally enhanced. Okay, and there's a couple of things that, but that's a tough one. I'm pretty sure it has, but I shouldn't say it's obvious because now that I look at it, you got to kind of take a closer look. But I do think it was a good idea to leave the shadows in there. I definitely think that it was really odd, had some really weird visual stress without the shadow on a sunny day. Whether that is picked up subconsciously or whether the viewer actually says, hey, where's the shadow? It was just kind of an uncomfortable visual tension. One of the other things I think is that as far as in terms of composition goes, and this again goes back to chapter 6, and I would crop these something a little bit more interesting to keep the kids as the central focal point. Now, by cropping that, you still have this expansive, background, this expansive nature, their relationship with infinity through nature, I think is still preserved. However, you are cutting out some of those extraneous background elements. I want to mention something here, and I think that, boy, this is a tough one because it almost looks, I'm not saying you did, but either your aperture is wide open, is really open, or you're shooting on auto mode. And the reason I say that is because the background is somewhat in focus. Okay, that is indicative of auto mode or the fact that you have, what you want to do is you want to open up that aperture. The reason you want to do that is because I think it would be really interesting in a lot of these shots if you had a soft focus on the background. Specifically, I think this would be really interesting if this image had the kids in focus and then had the background, especially if we crop that the way I was mentioning, and had this soft focus in the background. Same thing here, although the kids are in different depth of field, so that would be a tough shot. But this is good because I think it's interesting because she's watching her sibling, and they're the only two. They're the only two in the pool. So this is a cool shot. I like it a lot. Good timing, boy. You snapped that just perfectly. The only I would love to see um, the face because right now, I mean, just the expression from behind, as I can see the face as your toes first hit the cold water, as we all remember from jumping into the pool as kids. Okay, this I think is a great shot. I love this shot. You're up on a balcony or something, and that's fantastic. Again, though, I want to just talk a little bit about how that might be able to be cropped. Let me go back. Hang on one second. Okay, sorry about that. But anyways, how that might be cropped. Something really super interesting so we can get rid of the carpet and the post and those background things that are not important to the composition. Okay, let's go to the next shot. This is a really, really good shot. I think this is your strongest piece. I think it's fantastic. I like that. Now, this one I wouldn't crop. I love it. I love their relationship with what's going on in this composition. Um, Good exposure. Again, let me know what your f-stop is here on your aperture because I'm wondering if you're on auto mode. I doubt you are. I mean, we've talked about that enough. I doubt you are, but I'm thinking that your aperture is closed down pretty tightly. So you want to open that up to maybe get a little selective focus on the foreground and let's blur that background a little bit. I think that would be very, very intense. Okay, great shot. Another great shot. And again, here we have this really crystal clear background as opposed to having a focus on the child and then having the background a little bit with a softer focus. Okay, and then the race. This is good. I love it. Your kids are very close. Obviously, they're very close. And this, I think this is a very, very good shot. And I think it culminates their relationship with not only themselves, but with Summer. Because they're hanging out a lot as siblings. They're hanging out a lot together during the summer, and it's fantastic. This, I think, honestly, I think it's. Oh, one thing I want to mention before I get into that is I wouldn't mix black and white with color. I would keep these either all color or move to black and white. Um, and also, in terms of presentation and visual harmony, I think it would be best to keep these located in, like I said, instead of having this big wide page where you have all this negative space, close down the page size where the image itself takes a good considerable portion of that composition of the open page so that there's consistency when we're going from page to page as opposed to the eye jumping around. Okay, so as we start through the presentation, we see that we start over here, then we turn the page and the eye has to jump all the way over here. Doesn't seem like a problem, but in terms of visual communication, it is. It's called an eye jump. It's called staccatic movements. And you don't want that in design. You don't want your viewer's eye jumping around the page. You want to maintain a consistency so that the viewer doesn't have to make these staccatic eye movements throughout your composition. For that reason, I would recommend leaving your images in the same location on each page. Okay, so see how we're jumping back and forth, and that creates an uncomfortable visual tension. Okay. I think honestly, I know you love this shot, and just got such a gorgeous little expression and just the endearing. The way she's looking at the cat is just intense, just intense. Wait, is that okay? And then but we talked about this problem as being this image as being problematic, and I think it is. I think it's a weak link in your presentation. I would reshoot this somehow, getting the kids as this look of endearment to their own cat, this looking with love at the cat as it walks by. But there's too much going on. You got these really strange angles. You're down on the ground, which is great. It's great to get different perspectives. It's fantastic. But it's showing these different angles in the room, and it's just creating this tension in the image. Also, the cat is out of focus too. You got some motion blur also. All right, so that would be, those are my comments, and the narrative itself is it's there. I mean, it's so self-evident. It's fantastic, and that's why I don't think you need the words to back that up. I think we really, really know what's going on, and that sure looks like it's been digitally enhanced somehow the more I look at it. So, all right, any questions, comments, concerns, or anything else, Carla, let me know. But you've done a fantastic job, and And you can tell you say I really enjoyed preparing this assignment, and you can tell, and you got to spend some time with your kids, and that's the most important thing, right? All right, fantastic job. As I said, any questions, comments, concerns, or other, please let me know. Thank you.